Hello, hello, friends. Nicholas here with DIVO TED Talks, Devoted Talks, however you want to say it, where we take ancient wisdom and practices through a modern lens and experience to help you and those you love in suffering in your personal and greater worlds alike. Ah, my friends, spring is almost in the air. We just had a crazy nor'easter in the mid-Atlantic to the New England areas in the United States, and it looked glorious. A blizzard. I really need winter weather at times, although it hits different when you are a business owner. I've talked about that in other podcast episodes, but that feeling of just being able to stay inside with snow and be all right. There's parts of me that's like, ooh, I want to move to the place that gets the most snow every year. And then in second thought, I'm like, not at this point in your life because you have work. And so you would still potentially either have to work while the snow was happening or you would have to shovel yourself to get out to go do that work anyway. And so there may be impediments that are not foreseeable right now. And so maybe, just maybe, I can book a winter trip when I know there's going to be weather or pray for weather. I felt very happy for somebody that I follow on Facebook because for his birthday, he went to Rehoboth Beach and he had this blizzard and it was like heaven for him. And it was so good to see his joy and so exciting to have him share those experiences and what it meant to him in that moment. And it was so glorious. And I think about that sometimes. We get so caught in the mundane and the, really just day to day rigmarole and obligations. And that magic seems to diminish and that magic seems to become less than in ways that aren't very pleasant and not something that I would choose for myself. And then I go back to the last podcast episode where we're talking about it's everything and nothing all at once, right? Two sides of the same coin. It is we have control and yet we have no control. And there is nothing inhibiting us from having magic in our moment, but our beliefs and our filters of the world do impede and or facilitate different experiences than maybe we could have had, would have had, or should have had in regards or relation to, a particular experience. It almost forces it to feel a certain way, right? Life happens and our beliefs and our thoughts that we cling to cause us to feel a certain way, which then influences the way we act and then or continue to think. And it becomes this cycle. And I don't want to say a vicious cycle because it's not vicious. It's only vicious if our thoughts are vicious. But it is pernicious. It is steadfast. It is a feedback loop and system that evolved and is for our greatest good or our greatest suffering. And you see both of those in the world simultaneously, right? I was watching a video on gurus, and it was Sadhguru, and he was talking with somebody, and I was listening to him, and even he has these, preconceived notions and beliefs and way he reacts to certain things that the questioner was asking, the interviewer was asking him. That's very southern, asking him. Just blend all the words together. It's one long word and sentence. Anyway, um, and I was like, oh, he responded in a human way too. And yet he contains all of this wisdom within him. And I too struggle with day to day life sometimes. Like I am very aware of these things and I channel them through at different times, but I don't always embody them. And I'm just like the next guy in many ways that, oh yeah, I should do that. And being human is where we're at right now. And suffering is a choice, not because if we choose not to suffer, we won't have any suffering. But if we are able to understand ourselves in the context of driving the car of the one who is manifesting everything, then we can take the wheel. We can pay attention while we're driving. We can steer the wheel. We can step through the raindrops without getting wet. And it's a beautiful thing. But we can also step off the side of the curb into a puddle, or we're standing on the curb getting all the raindrops, or missing all the raindrops, and then somebody drives by with a car and hits a puddle and it splashes us. Right? Maybe you're so focused on stepping through the raindrops that you miss the car hurtling at the puddle that's going to splash you and drench you. Right? And so being in the moment and being situated in self allows us this purview and prowess to make choices and decisions in the moment. And that's the control we have. We have free will. That is our control in life. Our control in life is that we can choose. Now, how we choose isn't going to guarantee an outcome. That's not control. But we do have the control to choose for ourselves. I can choose to get up. I can choose not to get up. I can choose to do it one of a million ways or not. And it becomes these binary on or off choices. I was talking with my client about, men developing computers, and it was almost like a an exercise in control. What is the easiest way to get the machine to do what we want or not? And we reduced it to ones and zeros, on or off, on or off. And then how you program them together or wire them together will give you all kinds of different outcomes and potentially logic. I mean, look at what we've evolved to thus far. And yeah, I mean, it's fascinating. Fascinating. Um, the different spin-offs and eddies you could get into, these different thought processes in it. And nothing is more right or wrong than the other. It's just truly what story do you want to be involved in, right? Like sometimes I want to watch this story and sometimes I want to watch that story. And sometimes we're creating stories based on what we want or need without even knowing it. Sometimes we create drama to feel alive, and yet we're like, oh, I can't believe all this drama that's happening around us. Well, yeah, why wouldn't it? You need some excitement. You need to get your heart rate up. I say that tongue in cheek because that's not necessarily the truth. But what really could benefit all of us is coming back to the basics. You are in control when you are making choices. It doesn't really matter what the choice is because the outcome could be anything, but you do have control whether you make a choice in the moment or not. And sometimes a non choice is a choice in and of itself. And so you are all powerful, and yet any number of things, contextually speaking, may happen. And so, what I was talking to my client about was, the only reason left and right have meaning is because we give it to them. And yet they're no less true in that moment. So why do we try to emphasize one way of thinking or understanding more than another when it's all contextual, right? It all depends on the story or it depends on the framework. And so I do struggle sometimes because I can get so heady about it. And yet at the heart of it, I understand it. I deeply feel it in my bones. And yet it's just as hard for me as anybody else because it's not this straightforward A plus B equals C. Because it's A plus B can equal C unless A and B, do X, Y, and Z. And then it can get really complicated. But it's still a framework in and of itself. And the thing about it is through practice, any framework, any understanding, any agreed upon structure can be learned and adhered to. And it really is just about you choosing what you prefer. And sometimes we choose suffering because that's all we know. And we don't even know that we're choosing suffering, yet we are choosing it because it's familiar, right? Sometimes we choose to not change. And sometimes we do that unconsciously. And that's where we start to wake it up through regularly doing things that cause us to choose. When I teach my yoga classes, I give choices. And some people really get it and love it. And some people are like, I, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, whatever you want to do. And it's just this like foreign enigma. And it's okay right? But what if you started to look at life as this smorgasbord of choices versus this binary? And yet the binary can be choice. What do you do? I don't know. At the end of the day, I just want you to be well and be free. Take what you like and leave the rest.